He dreamed of a world powered by invisible waves. No wires. No pollution. No limits. A world where electricity, the lifeblood of modern civilization, would be free. But instead of changing the world, Nikola Tesla died alone in a hotel room, penniless, forgotten, and ridiculed. A man who touched lightning, yet couldn't hold onto the world's attention. This is the story of his dream, the one invention that could have redefined human civilization, and the forces that made sure it didn't. Welcome to Narrated History, where we explore the stories behind humanity's greatest ideas. In the late 19th century, cities were beginning to glow, but power was shackled to wires and bills. Tesla dreamed of overturning that system, towers that would pull energy from the earth and broadcast it through the air. Over the next few minutes we'll trace that dream, how he tried to build it, who helped him, who fought him, and why it never became the future he imagined. Part 1. The Spark. Nikola Tesla was born on July 10, 1856, in the village of Smiljan, then part of the Austrian Empire. His father, Milutin Tesla, was a Serbian Orthodox priest and a man who valued learning. His mother, Duka, never had formal schooling. Yet she made clever household tools and devices, small machines born of practical necessity. Tesla later said much of his mechanical imagination came from watching her work. As a child he was often sick. He spent long hours alone, reading and thinking. He remembered images, vivid mental pictures, that arrived whole and complete. He later described these images in interviews and notes, inventions, mechanisms, and patterns of light that he could see and test in his mind before ever building anything. He was a quick student. He read widely and developed what friends and professors called an exceptional memory. He studied engineering at the Austrian Polytechnic in Graz, where he absorbed the physics and mathematics of electricity. In 1882, while working as an electrical engineer in Budapest, Tesla experienced a key insight. He observed how magnetic fields and currents could interact in a rotating pattern, an idea that became the basis of the alternating current motor. That image, a field that pushed and then pulled, rather than flowing in a single steady line, changed the way he thought about electricity. This was not fantasy. Tesla himself described these moments in later testimony and notes. He treated them like mental experiments. He would imagine a machine, turn it over in his head, listen to it in his mind, and then build it in the workshop. That method allowed him to move quickly from concept to prototype. From that point, a clear aim took shape. Tesla imagined a different electrical future, one in which power could be generated, controlled, and shared in ways the existing systems did not allow. He proposed that energy might be transmitted without relying only on copper wires, and he sketched ideas about resonance, coils, and systems that could move energy over distance. He left Europe with these ideas still forming in his head. He would carry them to cities where industry hummed and opportunity and rivalry lived side by side. But before the world could test those ideas, he had to demonstrate them, to turn the vision of alternating currents, coils, and wireless transmission into working machines. Next, we follow him to New York, to the cramped workshops, the early patents, and the public demonstrations that would make invisible power 6. Part 2. Arrival in America and First Breakthrough. In 1884, Nikola Tesla arrived in New York City with little more than a letter of recommendation and 4 cents in his pocket. He was 28 years old. The letter he carried was addressed to one of the most famous inventors in America, Thomas Edison. The note, from Tesla's former employer in Europe, read, "I know 2 great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man." That introduction earned Tesla a meeting with Edison himself. At the time, Edison was already a household name, the Wizard of Menlo Park, celebrated for his inventions in sound, light, and power. But Edison's empire ran on direct current, or DC. Tesla had a different vision, one powered by alternating current, or AC, a system that could travel farther and more efficiently. Tesla went to work for Edison's company, fixing problems and improving designs. According to Tesla, Edison once promised him $50,000 if he could redesign the company's DC generators to work better. Tesla did. But when he asked for payment, Edison reportedly laughed and said, "You don't understand our American humor." Tesla quit soon after. He took small jobs to survive, digging ditches, drafting, working on minor projects, while still sketching his vision of AC power. For a time, he nearly gave up on his dream of revolutionizing electricity. But a few investors noticed his designs and offered him a chance to build. By 1888, Tesla's work caught the attention of George Westinghouse, an industrialist who believed alternating current was the future. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents for AC motors and transmission systems and hired him to help develop them. It was a partnership that would ignite one of the greatest technological rivalries in history, the War of Currents. Tesla's designs for polyphase motors and AC transformers made long-distance electrical transmission possible. Unlike Edison's DC system, which lost power over distance, Tesla's AC system could carry electricity across cities and towns, bringing light to streets, homes, and factories. Within just a few years, Tesla's ideas were no longer theory. They were power stations, humming wires, and glowing bulbs. He had arrived in America with nothing, and now his inventions were shaping the very infrastructure of modern life. But success came with conflict. Edison saw AC as a threat, not only to his business but to his reputation. He launched a public campaign to discredit it, calling it dangerous and deadly. The battle between AC and DC would soon turn into a spectacle, one that blurred the line between innovation and propaganda. And in the middle of it all stood Nikola Tesla, the dreamer who wanted to light the world, now drawn into a war he never asked to fight. Part 3. The War of Currents. By the late 1880s, America was entering a new age, an age of electricity. But there was no agreement on how that electricity should be delivered. Thomas Edison had built his empire on direct current, or DC, a system that pushed electricity in one direction through thick copper wires. It worked well over short distances, but the power faded quickly the farther it traveled. Nikola Tesla's alternating current, or AC, reversed its flow many times per second. It could travel farther, more efficiently, and with thinner wires. To Tesla, this was the future. To Edison, it was a threat. What began as a technical debate soon became a ruthless public battle, the War of Currents. Edison's company launched an aggressive campaign to discredit AC power. He claimed it was dangerous, unpredictable, even deadly. He sponsored public demonstrations where animals were electrocuted with alternating current, trying to prove its hazards. It was brutal propaganda, a strategy to make the public fear what Tesla had invented. Tesla refused to answer hate with hate. He focused on innovation. In 1893, his partnership with George Westinghouse won the contract to illuminate the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, one of the largest events in the world at the time. When night fell, over 200,000 light bulbs powered by Tesla's alternating current flooded the fairgrounds with pure white light. For many visitors, it was their first encounter with electricity. And it was breathtaking. The success in Chicago silenced many critics. It proved that AC was not only efficient, it was safe, scalable, and ready for the future. A year later, Tesla and Westinghouse achieved another victory. They built the first major hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls, a dream Tesla had spoken of years before. When the switch was thrown, water turned turbines, and electricity traveled miles away to light up the city of Buffalo. The world had entered the age of alternating current. But for Tesla, victory came at a price. The financial pressure on Westinghouse's company grew severe, and to save it, Tesla voluntarily tore up his own royalty contract, a deal that could have made him one of the richest men in history. He gave up millions, believing that progress mattered more than profit. And while Edison's direct current faded into history, Tesla's alternating current became the foundation of the modern electrical world, the current that powers our homes, our cities, and the devices in our hands. Part 4. The Dream of Wireless Power. By the dawn of the 20th century, Nikola Tesla was already a legend. His alternating current system had lit up the world, from the streets of New York to the falls of Niagara. But Tesla was not content with what he had achieved. He believed electricity could do more than illuminate cities. He believed it could connect them. Tesla envisioned a world where energy and information would flow freely through the air. No wires, no limits, no cost. He called it the world wireless system. To him, the Earth itself was a conductor, a vast natural circuit waiting to be used. In his laboratory in New York, Tesla began experimenting with resonance, how energy could be transmitted through frequency and vibration. He demonstrated wireless lighting, sending power through the ground to lamps placed meters away. He claimed that with the right setup, energy could travel across oceans. To make this dream real, Tesla needed funding. And he found it in J.P. Morgan, the most powerful banker in America. Morgan invested $150,000, a fortune then, to help Tesla construct a monumental tower on Long Island. It would be called Wardenclyffe, a 187-foot giant crowned with a copper dome, designed to send electricity and messages wirelessly across the globe. But Tesla's true ambitions were larger than Morgan ever imagined. Morgan thought he was financing a wireless communication system, something that could compete with the telegraph. Tesla, however, was building something far more radical, a global system of wireless power, free and accessible to all. When Morgan discovered this, he grew uneasy. He asked one question that would seal Tesla's fate. If anyone can draw on the power, where do we put the meter? To Morgan, free energy meant no business model, no profit, no control. He withdrew his support, and with him, Tesla's last major source of funding vanished. Tesla tried to continue the project alone, but materials, labor, and debts mounted. Meanwhile, a young Italian inventor named Guglielmo Marconi was gaining fame for his own experiments with wireless telegraphy. Marconi used several components that Tesla had already patented, including Tesla coils and tuned circuits, in his radio designs. Tesla noticed, and he protested. But the world wasn't listening. In 1901, Marconi sent a wireless signal across the Atlantic, a single letter, the Morse code S. The newspapers hailed him as the father of radio. Tesla was furious, but too broke to fight in court. Morgan immediately shifted his support to Marconi. Tesla was left isolated, broke, and humiliated, watching as his own inventions were used to crown someone else. Years later, the U.S. Supreme Court quietly ruled that many of Marconi's patents had indeed relied on Tesla's earlier work. But by then it was too late. Marconi had become a Nobel laureate. Tesla, a forgotten visionary. By 1917, the Wardenclyffe Tower, Tesla's great dream, was demolished for scrap metal to pay debts. He watched it fall from a distance. He had dreamed of giving the world free power, but the world chose profit instead. From that moment, Tesla's career began to fade into shadows. He lived in hotel rooms, feeding pigeons, writing about cosmic energy, death rays, and inventions that never saw daylight. He remained convinced that the world would one day rediscover what he had begun. But the spark of Wardenclyffe, his grandest vision, had burned out. Part 5. The Final Years. As the decades turned, the public's appetite for Tesla's grand visions waned. The world had electricity, but it had also chosen systems, companies, and markets that rewarded control and profit. Tesla's ideas, especially the kind that proposed free power, did not fit easily into that order. He continued to invent. He scribbled designs and made bold claims. He wrote about high-frequency oscillators, particle beam concepts, and other devices that sounded like science fiction. Some of these ideas were genuine experiments at the edge of contemporary physics. Others were speculative, half-proved, or simply theoretical notes in a worn notebook. Money was scarce. Tesla moved from hotel to hotel in New York, living a quiet, solitary life. He kept strict routines. He walked the city. He kept careful accounts. He paid what he could. He also found comfort in small, private joys, feeding pigeons in parks, befriending a few loyal patrons, and holding conversations with pigeons that he later described in tender terms. His eccentric habits made him an easy target for caricature. Newspapers loved a dramatic headline: the mad scientist, the recluse, the eccentric genius. Those labels obscured a more complicated truth. a man who had achieved monumental technical successes and who, in his later years, asked the world to listen to still more radical ideas. World events accelerated past him. New technologies emerged, industries consolidated, and younger inventors and businessmen shaped the century's direction. Tesla's name drifted from headlines and into the margins of scientific history. On January 7, 1943, at the age of 86, Nikola Tesla died in New York. He passed away alone in a hotel room. The official cause was heart failure. His death received respectful obituaries, but it did not restore the fortunes he had once imagined. After his death, some of his papers and notebooks were gathered and examined. Over the following decades, scholars, engineers, and journalists would sift through them, separating plausible inventions from hopeful speculation. Some of Tesla's technical contributions, the alternating current system, the induction motor, aspects of radio technology, and the Tesla coil, were undeniable. They became part of the backbone of modern electrical engineering. Other claims, perpetual motion, free energy devices, or weaponized rays, lived mostly in the realm of rumor, myth, or misunderstanding. They fueled conspiracy theories and late-night speculation, but they did not overturn the laws of physics as they are understood today. In the years after his death, Tesla's reputation followed a curious arc. For a time, he was overshadowed by rivals and simplified by journalists. Later, engineers and historians began to reappraise his work more carefully. Books, documentaries, and academic studies recognized both his real achievements and the complexity of his personality: brilliant, obsessive, sometimes self-destructive, always restless. Today, Tesla's name has become a cultural shorthand, used for companies, products, and ideas that promise radical innovation. His life raises difficult questions. How do we value invention? Who gets credit when ideas cross borders and eras? How do commercial interests and scientific curiosity collide? Tesla's story is not a simple morality tale. It is a portrait of a mind that pushed beyond conventional limits, at times accurately predicting future technologies, at times reaching beyond what was physically possible with the tools of his age. His legacy is mixed, human, and instructive. The streets he lit still glow with the current he helped unleash. The towers he imagined did not bring free power, but they did inspire generations to imagine wireless connections. Nikola Tesla's life ended in silence. But his ideas, they refused to die. Every flicker of light, every wireless signal, every electric heartbeat of modern civilization carries a trace of his vision. He dreamed of a world powered by energy that flowed freely, without greed, without wires, without limits. A world that never came to be, at least not yet. And it makes you wonder, what if it had? What if the world had listened instead of laughed? Would we live in cities powered by clean energy, transmitted through the air? No pollution, no wires, no boundaries? Would poverty look different? Would progress feel fairer? Or was humanity simply not ready for Tesla's kind of future? A future too advanced for its own time? Perhaps that's the tragedy and the beauty. Tesla saw what we could become and showed us the cost of dreaming too far ahead. Because every great idea carries a price. And sometimes, it's paid by the one who dares to dream it first. What do you think the world would look like if Tesla's dream had come true? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Narrated History for more deep explorations of humanity's greatest ideas among other stories. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.